So, hey guys, I just got another unexpected paycheck from Home Depot. It wasn't really a paycheck. It's kind of like a bonus. If anybody's ever worked for Home Depot, then maybe you've run into a situation where they do this share program with people. What they do is the store does really well, or based on the sales that they make, and what they do is they have a share revenue plan or whatever it's called, and they take a portion of that and disperse it among the employees, managers, supervisors, and everybody, and give you a certain percentage. Now, I'm not sure how these percentages are allocated among the employees or anybody else. All I know is that I got a small direct deposit into my Charles Schwab account yesterday of $65. And I looked at my paycheck stuff from last week. It was $100. So after taxes, I got $65. So that doesn't sound like a lot, guys, $65 from a share revenue program, but it's free money. I didn't have to do anything extra. I didn't have to work anything extra. And the company doesn't have to do anything at all. Most companies don't do anything extra. So I think it's kind of nice that the company does something for their employees. And I'm going to share with you guys what I'll be doing with this money and what I'll be doing with any extra money that I run into if I stay with Home Depot long enough to get another one, or any extra hours that I'm doing with Home Depot, because I am picking up extra hours, and I'm going to share with you guys why I'm doing this. So hey guys, if you are new here, my name is Susan Velez, and on this channel we talk about making money, saving money, investing money, and taking care of our health so that we can catch up for retirement, especially if you are late to saving for retirement like me. So yeah, guys, I got an extra $65 from Home Depot. It was a little over $65, not much more than $65 after taxes. The original bonus was $100, but of course Uncle Sam has to take their portion. So $65 went into my account. So what I'm going to be doing with this money is I already pushed $60 to my Fidelity brokerage account, because I'm going to just take that money and invest it and then just let it ride, because the $65 or the $60 that I'm investing can grow to be a lot more if I just invest it into an ETF, let it ride for 10 plus years. That $65 will turn into a lot more than $65. So that's what I'm doing with that. But for what I'm doing, I want to share with you guys a little bit of update what I'm doing with Home Depot. As you guys know, I work at Home Depot, work about 16 hours a week, Monday through Thursday. And I have been picking up more hours. And the reason being is that I want to focus on not just investing more, but because I want to pay off some bills that we have. So we have a school loan that we've been kind of just making the minimum payment on it, paying a little bit more whenever we have a little bit more. But for the most part, we are just paying it down slowly. And I want to pick up some more hours at Home Depot so that I can focus on paying it down and paying it off. So we have actually two school loans, and I'm going to pay off the first one, which is $2,000. I want to pay that off as quickly as I possibly can. Last week, I worked 23 hours, so I should be able to send them at least $500 to $600 when I get paid this coming Friday or next Friday. So I'm going to slow down on my investing a little bit. I'm still going to invest enough to max out my Roth IRA, but I want to focus on paying off these school loans. They are school loans that we went back to school on a later time in life. My partner went to school to become a biomedical technician, and that's what she does. Her schooling paid off for her. I went to school. I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I went for like some web design stuff. And that was a waste of money. Thankfully, I had the GI Bill, and the GI Bill paid for most of that. But I did get stuck with a $10,000 school loan. I've already paid off $8,000, still paying off $2,000, and really just been dragging my feet on paying it down, just making the minimum payments. So what I want to do is, since the Fed just raised their rates on just last week, or yesterday actually, when you're watching this, they just raised their rates yesterday. The stock market has really taken a huge upswing. So I'm going to slow down on my investing. I'm going to focus on just dollar cost averaging into my Roth IRA every time I get paid, max that out for 2024, and then pretty much slow down on my brokerage account. I might still take like $100 and put it into some ETFs, but for the most part, I'm going to slow down and really just focus on paying my school loans, because if I can pay those school loans off down, guys, for one of the school loans, our minimum payment is $55, and I've just been sending them the minimum $55. And then the other school loan, which is my partner's, we owe, I think it's like $5,000, a little bit less than $5,000, but pretty close to $5,000. That minimum payment is $87. I'm going to focus on making that minimum payment of $87 and focusing on the $2,000 school loan and paying that off. As soon as I pay that off, I'm going to jump and focus to the one that we owe, the $5,000, and really just get rid of those as quickly as possible. And then once those loans are paid, guys, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue saving that money just like we had the school loans and put those into the savings accounts in the emergency fund. That way we can beef up our emergency fund, because I don't know if I told you guys, but we just recently took out $2,000 on our emergency fund because we had to help we felt obligated to help my partner's parents pay for a Generac whole house generator. They just had one installed, so we gave them $2,000 to help them pay for that generator. And there's a reason for this, guys. So her parents didn't want to accept the money, but because they told us, I don't know, about 6 months ago, give or take, and we pretty much knew the whole time, because my partner is an only child, that she will be inheriting the house when the time does come. If everything works out perfectly, they don't have to sell the house for medical reasons. So we don't have a ton of extra money, but we are in a position where we are pretty fortunate that we do have a small emergency fund. So we took, instead of spending the $2,000 that we would have spent for Christmas this year, we told them, or we asked them if they were okay with not doing Christmas and us just giving them $2,000 to put towards the Generac whole house generator. And they were pretty cool with that. So instead of buying gifts for each other, we're just going to enjoy each other's company and do dinner and just, you know, spend the day, Christmas Day together, and not worry about spending for Christmas gifts. And guys, honestly, I'm really relieved of that. I mean, if you look at it, we still did spend the money that we would have spent for Christmas, but we helped them buy a Generac whole house generator. Now, when I say help them buy it, guys, we just made a small contribution because that whole house Generac generator was extremely expensive, but they wanted it because it helps them if the power goes out. They don't have to worry about pulling the generator out of the basement and cranking it up, running the electrical cords upstairs to plug in the refrigerator. And the last time that they lost power, 2 days at their house, they couldn't get that generator started. They're in their 80s. It's really hard for them to do that. So they felt that they wanted to do this Generac whole house generator. And so we decided to just forego Christmas, help them or give them $2,000 for this Generac generator. And that way we can call it Christmas done. We're just going to do Christmas dinner and that's it. So we're going to focus on replenishing that $2,000 back into the emergency fund, because if we had an emergency right now, we've really tied up a lot of our money into CDs, because as soon as they started announcing that they were going to cut the rates, we wanted to tie up some money into CDs. And so if we had an emergency right now, we would pretty much deplete that emergency fund because everything is tied up in CDs. So I really need to focus on beefing that emergency fund back up. So for the most part, whenever I get paid from Home Depot, I'm going to start trying to pick up extra hours and just focus on paying down those school loans. Once we get those school loans paid off, then I'm going to focus on beefing up our emergency fund. Now, I'm still going to be putting money towards the emergency fund right now, but it's not going to be anything significant. It might be like $200 from one pay period or from for the month, because we can only really contribute to the emergency fund for one paycheck. The other paycheck is pretty much spoken for all the bills. So every month we put about $200 in the emergency fund, which isn't a lot of money, but I can tell you from our personal experience, every little penny that you put into an emergency fund is definitely worth it. And it will bring peace of mind when you do have an emergency, because like Dave Ramsey says, guys, it's not a matter of if you're going to have an emergency. It's only a matter of when you're going to have one, because we actually had, I think 3 emergencies at one time during this past year. And I can tell you it was a huge relief to know that we did have an emergency fund that we could dip into without having to charge our credit card, because I don't know if I've ever told you guys, but we never had an emergency fund our entire life. And I can tell you that we did not go 51 years without an emergency. We actually probably put it on a credit card when the time came, because I've never borrowed money from anybody, never asked a family member for money, because I don't want to be in that situation where I ask a family member for money and then I can't pay them back. So if you're like me, guys, and you don't want to get strapped with an emergency and have to charge it on your credit card and then pay back these ridiculous rates, you need to start putting anything you can into an emergency fund. And I know it's so hard, guys, especially with the cost of everything so high. But like I said, if you start out with just $10, and before you know it, if you turn it into a habit, before you know it, you're going to have $1,000 in there. Now, I know $1,000 isn't a lot, but $1,000 is a lot better than zero. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to let you know what I'm going to be focusing on come the end of September, and then pretty much this point forward, I'm going to be focusing on paying down those school loans, paying them off, getting them off the budget, so that way we can have some more money to put into our emergency fund. I'm going to still keep putting money into my ETFs, not a lot of money because I don't have a lot of extra money, especially if I'm focusing on paying off those school loans. But I think it's worth focusing on paying off those school loans, getting them off our budget. That way we can start working on beefing up our emergency fund. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to share with you guys what I'm going to be doing with my bonus money, what I'm going to be doing with the extra money that I'm going to be using to, that I'm going to be making or earning now that I'm going to be picking up a few more hours every week. Like I said, I just picked up a few hours last week. Instead of working my typical 16, I worked 23. As long as Home Depot allows me to do this, I will try to pick up an extra 2.5 hours every night after my regular shift. So anyway, guys, if you guys have any plans of what you're going to be doing, what you're going to be focusing on, bills that you're going to be trying to pay off, or what you're doing with the money that you earn, let me know down in the comments below, guys. I always like to see what you're focusing on, where your goals are, your money goals are, what you're trying to achieve. And guys, also, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Click on that subscribe button so that you can be notified whenever I put out a new video. And join me on my journey to a $500,000 net worth so that I can retire with dignity. And guys, I will talk to you later. Have a great day. Bye.